Good morning, Rabia.
Morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Aisha. Good morning, Aisha. Walaikum assalam. How are you, Mariam? I called up yesterday, but you were sleeping. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's fine. How are you today? Okay. Yes, your mom was telling me. So I spoke to your mom. Okay, my dear students, as you do know that in our previous lecture, we had started discussing about IAS 16. IAS 16 is property, plant and equipment. Property, plant and equipment is one of the tangible non-current assets. And the standard, international accounting standard, which deals with the recognition, measurement and de-recognition of property, plant and equipment is IAS 16. Okay. So we had discussed few things about IAS 16. We had discussed about recognition of cost in our books of accounts regarding property, plant and equipment, which things are going to be included in the cost of tangible non-current assets. Do you remember which one were those? Purchase cost and all the other costs which were necessary in order to bring the asset in its present location and condition. So when we do say that the purchase cost and all the directly associated costs will be included in the cost of a non-current asset, it includes all the startup costs. Say for example, transportation costs. Say for example, import duties, any kind of legal fees, together with the purchase cost. So we had discussed about the cost, that is recognition of non-current assets in our books of accounts. So all those things which are included in the cost are going to be accounted for in our balance sheet, in our statement of financial position. जब हम लोग कहते हैं कि ये तमाम तर चीजें कॉस्ट के अंदर इंक्लूडेड होंगी, इसका मतलब ये है कि ये वो अमाउंट है जो कि हम लोग स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन में लिखेंगे इन फ्रंट ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी, प्लांट एंड इक्विपमेंट. गॉट इट? और ये कॉस्ट हम लोग अकाउंटिंग एंट्री जब पास करते हैं एसेट को परचेज करने की, व्हाट इज द अकाउंटिंग एंट्री फॉर परचेजिंग एन एसेट? नॉन करंट एसेट अकाउंट डेबिट, क्रेडिट विल बी कैश, बैंक और पेएबल्स. So this cost will be written in front of that accounting entry too. Got it? Then we had discussed about depreciation of the non-current assets. IAS 16 tells us that we have to write off the depreciation of the non-current assets every year. As per the usage of the asset, we have to deduct a portion of the total cost and we are going to write it off in our statement of profit or loss as our depreciation. So two methods are allowed by IAS 16 for depreciation. What are those? Straight line method and reducing balance method. We had discussed about both of them. Do you remember? In straight line method, what we do, the same amount of depreciation is going to be charged over to the useful life of an asset. The formula for calculating the depreciation as per straight line method is cost multiplied by the percentage of depreciation. Or if in the exam they are not giving you the percentage of depreciation, then you have to apply the formula in order to calculate the straight line depreciation. Can anyone tell me that formula? What is that formula? Cost minus residual value. Yes. Excellent. So in order to calculate the depreciation as per straight line method, the formula is cost minus residual value divided by estimated useful life of an asset. So in the exam, you might have to consider that by which particular strategy you are going to calculate the depreciation. If they are giving you the values to be put in the formula, then you have to apply the formula, or otherwise simply calculate the depreciation on the cost. तो मरियम एग्जाम में आपको देखना पड़ेगा अगर स्ट्रेट लाइन मेथड यूज हो रहा है डेप्रिसिएशन का, तो आप लोग या तो कॉस्ट के ऊपर परसेंटेज अप्लाई करोगे और ये परसेंटेज अप्लाई होगी कॉस्ट पर, okay, not on the carrying value. Cost multiplied by percentage of depreciation, और अगर उन्होंने फॉर्मूला की वैल्यूज दी है, कॉस्ट दी है, रेजिडुअल वैल्यू दी है, एस्टिमेटेड यूजफुल लाइफ दी है, तो इस फॉर्मूला की मदद से आप डेप्रिसिएशन कैलकुलेट करोगे और हर साल same amount of depreciation is going to be taken, will be deducted from the value of an asset. Got it? So what is the definition of depreciation as per IAS 16? It is the systematic allocation of the depreciable amount over to the estimated useful life of an asset. This is the definition of depreciation. On the other hand, we had discussed the second method to calculate depreciation, that is reducing balance method. The difference between straight line method of depreciation and reducing balance method is that in the case of straight line method, same amount of depreciation will be calculated over to the useful life of an asset. On the other hand, for reducing balance method, the amount of depreciation is going to be reduced with the passage of time. Getting my point? That is why it is known as reducing balance method. Where in the case of straight line method, we multiply the amount of depreciation, the rate of depreciation on the cost. In reducing balance method, we do multiply this percentage of depreciation on the carrying value of an asset. Got it? So carrying value multiplied by rate of depreciation is reducing balance method. Cost multiplied by percentage of depreciation is straight line method. What is the carrying value? Cost minus accumulated depreciation is carrying value. Every year, we are going to calculate the depreciation and we are going to make a pool of depreciation. Say, for example, we are on the sixth year of the useful life of an asset. So in the previous 5 years, we have taken some depreciation. The sum of all those depreciations which we have taken over to the 5 years is known as accumulated depreciation. So cost minus accumulated depreciation is known as carrying value of things. Got it? This is also known as book value of an asset. Carrying value will also be known as book value of an asset. This is the value which we are recording in the books of accounts. Clear? So this is the difference between straight line method and reducing balance method. Now, here is an understanding number 4. We had discussed all the things before to this understanding, so we are going to start with this understanding. What is an accounting entry for depreciation? When do we purchase an asset? The accounting entry is debit, non-current asset account, and credit, cash, bank or payables account. When we are going to take a depreciation, what is an accounting entry? Can anyone tell me? Is it? No? You're not revising? Afaq? No? Mariam? No. Depreciation is a non-cash expense. Okay? Whenever we are going to take a depreciation, cash is not involved. Debit depreciation expense account, credit accumulated depreciation account. Got it? Depreciation expense is going to be debited, accumulated depreciation is going to be credited. Got it now? Now let's start doing this understanding. Show the ledger account entries for these assets for the year ending 31st October 2005, 2006, and 2007. So for 3 years, they are asking about the accounting treatment. My dear students, as you do know that in the exam, you will not be required to solve these much detailed questions, okay? Just for your understanding, they are building up the detailed questions. So let's start doing it. Coco acquired 2 non-current assets for cash on 1st August 2005 for use in her party organizing business. A property with a 25 years useful life for $200,000 with no expected residual value. A chocolate fountain for $4,000. The fountain is to be depreciated at 25% per annum using the reducing balance method. A full year depreciation is charged in the year of acquisition and none in the year of disposal. My dear students, together with the other information, this last line is also very important. When this line is going to be given to you, it means that irrespective of the date of purchase of an asset, you are going to take a full year depreciation in the year of purchase, and you are not going to take any depreciation in the year when the asset is disposed of. मरियम, जब ये लाइन ऐड की जाएगी तो आप ये नहीं देखोगे कि एसेट किस डेट को परचेज किया गया है, साल के बीच में भी परचेज किया हो सकता है ना, तो आप उसको इग्नोर कर दोगे। आप पूरे के पूरे साल की डेप्रिसिएशन लोगे इन द ईयर ऑफ परचेज और कोई भी डेप्रिसिएशन नहीं दोगे उस साल में जब एसेट सेल करें। Got it? So this line is very important. Now one by one we are going to pass the accounting entry, students. When the assets have been purchased on 1st August 2005. So when the assets are going to be purchased on 1st August 2005, what accounting entries we are going to pass? Debit, non-current asset. Which asset has been purchased first? Property. So this one is going to be included in property, plant and equipment account. And what are we going to credit? Cash, bank or payables account. What is the cost of this asset? $200,000. Is it, students? Yes. $200,000. On the same date, we are going to pass the another accounting entry for the other asset as well. So separate accounting entries are going to be passed. So the second, we are going to write over here, which asset has been purchased? Chocolate fountain, non-current asset, chocolate fountain account, and credit will be again cash, bank or payables account. What is the amount, students? $4,000. Clear up to here? Now, students, we are required to prepare the ledger accounts at 31st October 2005 to 2007. So when we are going to reach 31st October 2005, after using this asset for all the year, we have to pass the accounting entry for depreciation. So at the end of the year, at 31st October 2005, after using the asset for 1 year, we are going to pass the accounting entry for depreciation. What is that? What is an accounting entry for depreciation? Very good. Debit depreciation expense account, and credit will be accumulated depreciation account. Same for the second asset, we are going to pass this accounting entry, debit depreciation expense account, and credit accumulated depreciation account. What amounts we have to write? For the first asset, they say they are not telling any information about the first asset, but over here they are telling about fountain only. So it means that for the property, we have to apply the formula in order to calculate the depreciation. They say a property with a 25 years useful life for $200,000 with no expected residual value. So how are we going to calculate the depreciation for it? Cost minus no residual value minus 0 divided by expected useful life, that is 25 years. So how much is going to be the depreciation, students? Please calculate. $8,000. So this is straight line method. up till the end of the useful life of an asset, we are going to take the same amount of depreciation. How much it is? $8,000. So at the end of the year, we are going to pass this accounting entry. For the second, what amount we are going to include? They say the fountain is to be depreciated at 25% per annum using the reducing balance method. What is the formula for calculating depreciation as per reducing balance method? Carrying value multiplied by percentage of depreciation, that is 25% over here. In the first year, cost is going to be the carrying value. Got it? Because there is no accumulated depreciation in the first year. So carrying value will be the cost. So what is the cost of fountain? $4,000 multiplied by 25%. 31st October 2005. Depreciation will be how much for fountain? 4,000 multiplied by 25%. How much it is, students? $1,000? $1,000. So 1,000 we are going to write. Afaq, are you clear, dear? Okay, now, no accounting, no more accounting entries in this year. When we are going to reach the end of the next year, again we have to pass the depreciation accounting entry. मरियम, इस साल में और कोई accounting entries नहीं है. पूरा साल हम दोबारा use करेंगे asset को. At the end of the year, again we are going to pass the accounting entry for depreciation. Clear, Miriam? Okay, now. So at 31st October 2006, again we are going to pass the same accounting entry. What is that? Debit, depreciation expense account, credit, accumulated depreciation account. In this case, straight line method has been used. Am I right? In the case of property, same amount of depreciation is going to be written, $8,000. Same accounting entry in this case as well. What is that? Debit, depreciation expense account, credit, accumulated depreciation account. In this case, reducing balance method has been used. It means that reduced amount of depreciation is going to be charged. So for 31st October 2006, what is the formula for calculating reducing balance method depreciation? Carrying value multiplied by percentage of depreciation. In the first year, cost has been assumed to be carrying value. In this year, we have to calculate carrying value. How much it will be? Carrying value is equal to cost minus accumulated depreciation. How much has been the cost? 4,000 minus what has been the accumulated depreciation up till now? $1,000. What will be the carrying value, students? $3,000. Now on this 3,000 we are going to calculate the depreciation. Mariam, carrying value हम लोग को calculate करनी पड़ेगी अब. Cost minus accumulated depreciation. Cost asset की थी 4,000, accumulated depreciation अब तक की थी $1,000. हमने सिर्फ एक साल depreciation ली थी. वो minus करके 3,000 carrying value आ गई. इस पर हम लोग percentage of depreciation apply करेंगे. That is how much? 25. How much it is? 25%. So how much will be the depreciation for the second year? 3,000 multiplied by 25%. 750. $750. This is the depreciation for the second year. So now we are going to write this amount. Afaq, are you clear here? Now again, no more accounting entries there. For full year, again we are going to use the asset, and at the end we are going to pass the same accounting entry in 2007. So at 31st October 2007, same accounting entry is going to be passed. Debit, depreciation expense account, credit, accumulated depreciation account with the same amount, since it is which method? Straight line method. In this case, depreciation charge is going to be reduced because it is reducing balance method. The same accounting entry is going to be passed. Debit, depreciation expense account, credit, accumulated depreciation account. Again, by using that same method, we are going to calculate the depreciation at 31st October 2007, carrying value multiplied by percentage of depreciation. Again, we have to calculate the carrying value. What is that? Cost minus accumulated depreciation. How much has been the cost, Maria? $4,000. How much is the accumulated depreciation now, Hazel?
7.
No, that is for the second year only.
Oh, 17.
1,750. Now the accumulated, the full charge of the depreciation to date is 1,000 and this 750. That will be the accumulated total depreciation. Afaq, are you clear? So accumulated depreciation will be 1,750. So we have cleared. So how much is the carrying value now? Calculate, students. No, 2250. Is it? 2250? Is it 2250 multiplied by rate of depreciation is 25%. How much is the depreciation? 562. 2.5. So you can round it also. Okay, you can take 563 or 562. So 562 is the depreciation for the third year. Yes, is there a question?
It's not little, this is lower. How would we round off 5? Is it, we take it as 1.
Upwards. Actually, we in ACCA, in financial accounting or something, we do say that if it's 5 or above, we are going to round it up. But taxation, it's downwards. Okay, so they are a little bit, different. Okay, so 562. Clear, students? Any question regarding this? Yes. Minus 1,000. This one is the depreciation for the first year. Okay, now students, please be clear that in the financial statements, what are we going to do every year? First year, when we are going to purchase the non-current asset, we are going to pass this accounting entry. We are going to prepare the ledger accounts. In statement of financial position, these costs are going to be mentioned in statement of financial position. Then every year, the charge of depreciation which will be going to the statement of profit or loss will be this, then this, then this. हर साल जो हम स्टेटमेंट ऑफ प्रॉफिट और लॉस के अंदर डेप्रिसिएशन लेके जाएंगे वो होगी अक्टूबर 2005 वाले साल में 8,000, अक्टूबर 2006 वाले साल में 8,000, अक्टूबर 2007 वाले साल में 8,000. हर साल हम लोग की 8,000 डेप्रिसिएशन एक्सपेंस लेंगे. Same is the case with this asset. At 31st October 2005, उस साल की स्टेटमेंट ऑफ प्रॉफिट और लॉस में 1,000, अगले साल में 750, उससे अगले साल में 560. So Neha, so every year the depreciation expense which will be recorded in the statement of profit or loss will be the individual depreciation. Okay, 8,000, 8,000, 8,000 individual every year. For this asset, same case is going to be applied. Now, in statement of financial position, from the cost of an asset, every year we have to deduct accumulated depreciation. Say, for example, you are making the SOFP for 31st October 2007 for this year. Then you are going to write 200,000 as the cost, and then you have to deduct the accumulated depreciation, that is 8,816, 824,000. Clear? So this you are going to do in the case of SOF. Is everyone clear? जब हम लोग स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन बनाएंगे उसके अंदर कॉस्ट लिखेंगे और एक्यूमुलेटेड डेप्रिसिएशन को डिडक्ट करेंगे. हर साल ये एक्टिविटी होगी. स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ प्रॉफिट और लॉस के अंदर इंडिविजुअल डेप्रिसिएशन रिकॉर्ड करते रहेंगे, लेकिन स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन के अंदर कॉस्ट लिखेंगे और जितनी डेप्रिसिएशन चार्ज हो चुकी है तब तक वो सारी की सारी डिडक्ट करके कैरिंग वैल्यू लिखी जाएगी, SOFP. So that is why carrying value is also known as book value. Got it? So now we have done this illustration understanding in detail so that your concepts regarding depreciation can be clear. Now you can make your ledger accounts as per your own choice, okay? From your homework, you can do it. Aisha and Rabia, are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Students, wherever you are not getting clear, please do ask your questions, okay? Okay, now students, illustration number 3, changes to estimates. Students, you must be knowing that residual value or the expected useful life of an asset are just estimates of the organization. Organization के अंदाजे होते हैं कि residual value कितनी होगी asset की या फिर expected useful life कितनी होगी asset की. These estimates can be changed at any time. When those estimates are going to be changed, we have to make them recognized as prospectively. Retrospective effect is not going to be taken. Retrospective effect in accountancy means that previous year's records are also going to be changed. But whenever there are changes in estimates, there will be prospective effects. In the future years, the changes are going to be accounted for. Okay. So illustration number 3 is regarding changes to the estimates. They are requiring us to calculate the depreciation charge for the year ended 31st December 2003 and subsequent years. LP purchased a non-current asset for $100,000 on 1st January 2002. Students pass the accounting entry for this. LP purchased a non-current asset for $100,000 on 1st January 2002. Please pass your accounting entry. Everyone. What is an accounting entry? Debit will be non-current asset. Debit will be non-current asset account. Credit will be cash. Cash. They are not mentioning it is for cash or anything. So cash, bank, or payables account. How much is the amount? $100,000. Clear? Okay, they say, and started depreciating it over 5 years. Residual value was taken as $10,000. At 1st January 2003, a review of assets' lives was undertaken, and the remaining useful life of the asset was estimated at 8 years. Residual value was estimated to be nil. Students, in 1st January 2002, up till 31st January 2002, there has been no change. But on 1st January 2003, there has been a review and estimated useful life has been now changed. Cleared? This is what they are telling. And the requirement of the question is to calculate the depreciation charge for year ended 31st December 2003 and subsequent years. First, tell me, are we going to take a straight line method depreciation or reducing balance method? They have not mentioned how much, which one? Reducing balance. Why? Have they mentioned anywhere? Then what, how do you establish that reducing balance method is going to be used? You have to see the amounts or the data which is given in the question. They are giving us the data for residual value, estimated useful life of an asset. So it means that we are going to charge the depreciation as per straight line. Okay. So the cost of an asset has been 100,000. That the estimated useful life of the asset is 5 years, and residual value is 10,000. Is it? This is the estimate in whole year of January 2002. So when we are going to reach 31st December 2002, What accounting entry is going to be passed for depreciation? Debit, depreciation expense account. Credit will be accumulated depreciation account. How much depreciation we are going to take? Cost minus residual value, 10,000, divided by expected useful life is 5 years. How much depreciation, students? $18,000. 18,000 depreciation is going to be taken. But they say at 1st January 2003, a review of the asset's life was undertaken and the remaining useful life of the asset was estimated at 8 years. Now the new estimated useful life of an asset is how much? 8 years. Residual value was estimated to be nil. Now again we are going to calculate the depreciation, students. How much it will be? Let's see. At 31st December 2003, same accounting entry is going to be passed. Debit depreciation expense account. Credit will be accumulated depreciation account. How much amount of depreciation is going to be passed, students? Can anyone tell me? Cost minus residual value now. How much residual value is estimated now? Nil. And expected useful life is how much? 8 years. So divided by 8. So new amount of depreciation is how much, students? Sorry? 1,000. Is it? 12,500. Now from this year onwards, same amount of depreciation and same amount of accounting entry is going to be passed. Got it? This is the effect of changes in estimates. Cleared? Anyone having any confusion? No confusion? Yes. Obviously, debit and credit will be with the same amount. लेकिन जब हम accumulated depreciation का ledger account बनाएंगे ना, उसमें वो accumulate होके सारी आएगी इकट्ठी. देखो accumulated depreciation ने जाना है SOFP में, उसका बैलेंस हर साल कैरी फॉरवर्ड और ब्रॉड फॉरवर्ड होगा. डेप्रिसिएशन एक्सपेंस ने जाना है SOPL में, एक साल ली डेप्रिसिएशन, अगले साल वो बैलेंस नहीं आएगा. इसलिए डेप्रिसिएशन एक्सपेंस जो कि है वो हर साल इंडिविजुअल आता रहेगा बैलेंस, जबकि accumulated depreciation के अंदर accumulate होके आता रहेगा. Got it? So the previous knowledge should also have to be applied. Accumulated depreciation is the item of SOFP. So every year the balance will be carried forward and brought forward. So we are going to take the accumulated one. We will be taking it to the SOFP then. In the case of depreciation expense, it's the item of the SOPL. So every year the balance will not be carried forward or brought down. Okay, so only individual balance will be taken to the SOPL. Clear now, everyone? Now, students, with this, we have ended our chapter. The next chapter is also about non-current assets. That is about disposal and revaluation of non-current assets. In this chapter, students, we are going to discuss about non-current assets whenever they are going to appreciate in value. And we are going to discuss about the treatment of non-current assets when they are going to be disposed of, they are going to be sold. Under appreciation, we are going to discuss about the concept of revaluation. In disposal, we are going to discuss about two main things: when the asset is disposed of for cash proceeds or when the asset is disposed of as the part exchange. जब asset हम लोग sale करेंगे और cash receive करेंगे उसके बरक्स, या फिर हम लोग asset को exchange कर रहे हैं. Say for example, ये asset ले लो हमसे और इसकी प्राइस को एडजस्ट कर दो उस एसेट में जो कि हम लोग तुमसे परचेज कर रहे हैं और रिमेनिंग अमाउंट दे दो. Got it? So both the treatments we are going to discuss. Now, students, what is the meaning of disposal of non-current assets? Meaning of disposal of non-current assets is to sell them. Whenever we are going to sell the non-current asset, it means that we are disposing it off. When we do acquire a non-current asset, we purchase a non-current asset, we have to recognize it. Whenever we are disposing of an asset, whenever we are selling an asset, we have to de-recognize it. जब हम एसेट परचेज करते हैं, एक्वायर करते हैं, उसको हमें रिकॉग्नाइज करना है हमारी बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में. जब हम उसे सेल करते हैं तो हमें उसे डी-रिकॉग्नाइज करना है. ये तमाम की तमाम चीजें they do come under IAS 16 itself. Now, disposal of non-current assets. Let's quickly read it. IAS 16 says that the carrying amount of an item of property, plant, and equipment shall be de-recognized on disposal or when no future economic benefits are expected from its use or disposal. This is the language of IAS 16. IAS 16 tells us that whenever the asset is going to be sold, it is going out of the organization, we are going to de-recognize it from our books of accounts. Whenever the asset is purchased, we are going to recognize it. Whenever it is sold, we are going to de-recognize it. Or on the other hand, if it has stopped giving us any economic benefits, we are going to de-recognize it. जब asset sale कर दिया जाएगा, उसे books of accounts से खत्म कर दिया जाएगा. जब asset हमें more economic benefits नहीं दे रहा, उसे अपनी books of accounts से हम लोग निकाल देंगे. This is known as de-recognition. Then standard tells us when a tangible non-current asset is disposed of or de-recognized, there are a number of adjustments required to remove the asset and associated accumulated depreciation from the statement of financial position and to record a profit or loss on disposal. Whenever an asset is disposed of, students, three important things are happening. We have to de-recognize the cost of non-current assets from our books of accounts. We have to de-recognize its related accumulated depreciation from our books of accounts. We have to record the profit or loss which we are gaining on the disposal of a non-current asset. जब हम asset को sale करते हैं, तीन important चीजें हो रही होती हैं. हमने उस asset की cost को अपने books of accounts से निकालना है. हमने उस asset से related accumulated depreciation को अपने books of accounts से निकालना है. और उसकी sale पर जो कि profit या loss हो रहा है, उसे हमने अपने statement of profit or loss में record करना है. तो ये तीन चीजें हम लोग करेंगे whenever we are disposing of an asset. We are going to de-recognize its cost. We are going to de-recognize its associated accumulated depreciation. We are going to record the profit or loss on its disposal. Got it? So these three things are going to be happening at the disposal time of a non-current asset. My dear students, whenever the asset is going to be disposed of, a separate ledger account is going to be opened immediately. That is known as disposal account. जब हम लोग एसेट को बेचते हैं, उस टाइम फौरी तौर पर हम लोग एक नया अकाउंट ओपन करते हैं जिसे हम लोग डिस्पोजल अकाउंट कहते हैं. इससे पहले ये अकाउंट ओपन नहीं होगा. Whenever we are going to dispose of an asset, a separate ledger account is going to be opened, that is disposal account, in order to record the accounting entries related to that disposal of a non-current asset. Then they say profit or loss on disposal. What is a profit or loss on disposal? If we are selling a non-current asset and the proceeds, the sale proceeds which we are taking are more than the carrying value of the asset at disposal date, it means that it's a profit. Whenever we are selling a non-current asset and the sales proceeds which we are taking for selling are lesser than the carrying value of the asset, carrying amount of an asset at the disposal date, it's a loss on disposal. Whenever we are selling an asset and the sale proceeds which we are taking out of that asset are equal to the carrying amount of an asset at its disposal date, there is no profit, no loss. It's a break-even situation. जब हम asset को sale करते हैं, हमें compare करना है दो चीजों को, sale value of an asset and the carrying value of an asset at disposal date. जब हम लोग asset को sale करेंगे मरियम, तो हम लोग दो चीजों को compare करेंगे. That is carrying value of an asset and sale value of an asset. If the carrying value of an asset is more than the sale value, it is loss. When the carrying value of an asset is lesser than the sale value of an asset, it's profit. When they are equal, it's no profit, no loss. Clear? हम लोगों को ये कंपेयर करना है. Carrying value क्या है? Cost minus accumulated depreciation. Cleared? They say, note, a disposal T account is required when recording the disposal of a non-current asset. This is profit or loss account. So immediately at the time of disposing of an asset, we are going to open a separate account that is known as disposal account. Up till here, are you clear, students? And which two things are we going to compare when we are selling a non-current asset? Which two things are going to be compared? Excellent. Carrying value and sales proceeds are going to be compared. Now, you are going to adopt a three-step process whenever you are disposing of an asset for cash proceeds. जब हम लोग cash proceeds ले रहे हैं, asset को sale करने के लिए cash ले रहे हैं, हम लोग को 3 steps follow करने, 3 accounting entries pass करनी. Follow it in your exams as well. And 3 accounting entries are for which thing? For de-recognizing the cost of a non-current asset, for de-recognizing the accumulated depreciation, and the third one is when we are actually taking the cash proceeds for that sale of a non-current asset. So let's see what they say. Non-current asset cash consideration. This is a 3-step process. Remove the original cost of the non-current asset from the non-current asset account. हम लोगों को de-recognize करना है cost of the non-current asset from our books of accounts. What accounting entry we are going to pass? Debit disposal account, credit non-current asset account. Students, when we do purchase an asset, we do debit it. When we are selling it, when we are de-recognizing it, we are going to credit it. Decrease in asset is credit. And we are going to debit disposal account. These related accounting entries will be going to the disposal account. If I do ask, students, what accounting entry we do pass in order to de-recognize the cost of the non-current asset from our books of accounts, you will say debit disposal account, credit non-current asset. So the first accounting entry to de-recognize the cost is debit disposal credit non-current asset. मरियम, जब हम लोग एसेट को सेल करेंगे उसकी कॉस्ट को de-recognize करने के लिए ये पहली accounting entry पास करेंगे. The second one is to de-recognize its relevant accumulated depreciation. What is the normal balance of accumulated depreciation? It's credit. When we are going to de-recognize, we are going to debit it. So in order to de-recognize accumulated depreciation, we are going to debit accumulated depreciation account and we are going to credit disposal account. Asset की accumulated जो asset sale किया है उसकी depreciation को उससे related depreciation को de-recognize करने के लिए क्या accounting entry पास करेंगे? Debit accumulated depreciation, credit disposal account. Cost को de-recognize करने के लिए debit disposal, credit non-current asset. Accumulated depreciation को de-recognize करने के लिए debit accumulated depreciation, credit disposal. Clear? Now the third one, to record the proceeds. जब हम लोग cash actual ले रहे हैं, when we are receiving the cash for selling that non-current asset, what accounting entry is going to be passed? Debit cash, credit disposal. Cash is increasing in the organization, we are going to debit and we are going to credit disposal. Now students, when we are opening the disposal account, ultimately these accounting entries will be going to the ledger account of disposal. Am I right? Consider this point. Disposal account is going to be opened. This is the T account. Debit, credit. Is it, students? The first accounting entry, disposal account is getting debited. Over here, we are going to write an amount. The opposite account name is non-current asset cost account. Is it? In the second accounting entry, disposal account is getting credited. We are going to write the amount over here. The opposite account is which one? Accumulated depreciation account. In the third accounting entry, disposal account is getting credited. We are going to write an amount over here. The name of the opposite account is cash. What is actually happening over here? We are comparing the carrying value with the sale proceeds. These are sale proceeds. Is it? And this is carrying value. Cost minus accumulated depreciation is carrying value. Got it? We are actually comparing the cost and the carrying value and sale proceeds. Now, what have we discussed over there? If the sale proceeds are more than the carrying value, what is it? It's profit. If sale proceeds are lesser than the carrying value, it's loss. Say, for example, the cost of the non-current asset has been 800,000, which we are disposing of. Its accumulated depreciation has been relevant to that year, has been 100,000. And sale proceeds have been 200,000. What is the balance on this account now? What is the balance? Total 800,000 is going to be written. Heavier side 800,000 minus 100 and minus 200. 500,000, is it? 500,000. What is happening in this case? What is this 500, students? This is loss on disposal. What is this? This is loss on disposal. So whenever your disposal account will be giving you the debit balance, it's loss on disposal, where it will be going statement of profit or loss. Where does the loss goes ultimately? Statement of profit or loss. Everyone clear? What accounting entry are we going to pass for the loss on disposal, students? What is the normal balance for loss? It's debit. Okay. Whenever there is a loss, it is always going to be a debit balance. Loss on disposal, account debit, credit will be disposal account. That is why on the credit side it is written, disposal account is getting credited, 500. But what is the name of the opposite account? Loss on disposal. So this is what is happening in the case of profit or loss on disposal. Is everyone clear? May I erase it, students? Which 100? 500. ये बैलेंस आया ना इस अकाउंट के ऊपर, लेजर अकाउंट बनाया, इसमें बैलेंस आया 500,000. लेजर अकाउंट बनाना याद है ना आपको? तो ये बैलेंस आया ना उसमें. हैवियर साइड का टोटल लिख दिया 800,000. 800,000 minus 100,000 minus 200,000, 500,000. जब डेबिट बैलेंस आएगा तो लॉस होगा, जब क्रेडिट बैलेंस आएगा तो प्रॉफिट. Students, what will be the accounting entry for profit on disposal? Opposite. Debit disposal account, credit, profit on disposal account. Aisha and Rabia, are you cleared?
Yes, ma'am. Can we write this?
Sure, dear. Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Yes, Aisha and Rabia, have you finished?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, students, have you finished writing? Now, students, here they are making the disposal account. You can have a look at this. In order to calculate the profit or loss on disposal, we are going to make the disposal account in this manner. You can see on the debit side, we do have cost. Credit side, we have accumulated depreciation. We are going to record the sale proceeds. If it is giving a debit balance, it's a loss on disposal. If it is giving a credit balance, it is profit on disposal. Okay. So the profit or loss on disposal can be calculated as proceeds less carrying amount of asset at disposal. So whenever we are selling an asset, we are going to compare two values: carrying amount of an asset at its disposal date and its sale proceeds. Now, students, understanding number 1 is there. How much is charged to purchase statement of profit or loss in respect of asset for the year ended 31st December 2005? Students, can you do this question? In statement of profit or loss regarding asset, which things are going to go? Depreciation and profit or loss on disposal. Am I right? So you have to read the scenario. Whichever things are there regarding depreciation or profit or loss on disposal, these will be going to the statement of profit or loss. Start doing it. They are asking only about 31st December 2005. Students, if they are not mentioning anything that whether the depreciation is straight line method or reducing balance method or which assumption you need to take, you can take full year depreciation in the year of purchase and none in the year of disposal. जिस साल आप लोगों ने एसेट परचेज किया उस साल पूरे साल की लो डेप्रिसिएशन, जिस साल आपने सेल किया उस साल कोई डेप्रिसिएशन ना लो. ओके But over here, they are mentioning monthly basis. Okay. If nothing is being mentioned, take full year depreciation in the year of purchase and none in the year of disposal. समझ आई? नहीं? If they have not mentioned anything or any assumption, then you have to take full year depreciation in the year of purchase and none in the year of disposal. But if they are mentioning that proportionately you have to take the depreciation, like over here, monthly basis depreciation is going to be charged, then you have to take the depreciation on monthly basis.
How will we take depreciation on monthly basis?
Yes, I'm telling you. At the year ending date is 31st December 2005 and the year the asset has been purchased on 1st February. So for the first year up till 31st December 2002, the depreciation will be for February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, only for 11 months. You are going to charge the depreciation divided by 12, multiplied by 11 for the first year. Okay. Then for the second year, full year charge. 2003, full year charge. 2004, full year charge. 2005, up to the date when the asset is being disposed of. Take 2 minutes to this question. How much depreciation will be for 31st December 2005? Samiha is going to tell. Samiha, how much it is? It's straight line method. Okay. The same amount of depreciation is going to be taken on cost. How much is the cost of an asset? 3,000. 3,000 is the cost. And then we have to multiply it with the percentage. How much percentage is there? 10%. In year 2005, how many months it has been used? Up till 31st July 2005 only. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July. For 7 months only it has been used. So this 3,000 multiplied by 10%, 300 depreciation is for 12 months. We are going to take only for how many months? 7 months. Is it, students? How much depreciation is for 31st December 2005? Tell me. 175. So this will be going to the statement of profit or loss. Statement of profit or loss में सिर्फ उसी साल की depreciation जाती है ना. SOFP के अंदर accumulated जाएगी पिछले सालों की भी सारी. SOPL के अंदर जो depreciation charge जाएगा at 31st December 2005, it will be 175. Clear everyone about it? Now this one thing will be going to the SOPL. Now, because asset has been disposed of, there must be profit or loss on disposal which is going. So, whenever we are disposing of an asset, we have to compare its carrying value and which other thing? Sale value. Sale value they are mentioning as $2,000. Sale value is $2,000. We have to calculate carrying value. What is carrying value, students? Cost minus accumulated depreciation. So in this way, obviously, we have to calculate the depreciation for all the previous years as well. Okay. How much is the cost of an asset? Is it $3,000. The depreciation for 31st December 2002, how much it has been? Cost multiplied by 10%. Multiplied by how many months? 11 months. It is for 31st December 2002. मरियम हम अब carrying value calculate कर रहे हैं. वो खत्म हो गया केस को हमने कर लिया है. Now we are calculating carrying value. So we have to see the depreciation, accumulated depreciation for all the years. Okay. So for the first year, 31st December 2002, the depreciation has been for 11 months. Is it? February में purchase हुआ है ना. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, 11 months. This will be the charge for the first year. So the carrying value at 31st December 2002, how much it will be? 3,000 minus how much is the depreciation? For the first year, it's 275. 300 multiplied by 11 divided by 12. 275. 275. So carrying value, how much it will be? 3000 minus 275. 2725. Now, carrying value at 31st December 2003. In 31st December 2003, full year depreciation is going to be charged. So cost will be 3000 minus accumulated depreciation. How much was for the previous year? 275. How much for this full year? 300. 3000 multiplied by 10% for full year. So how much is going to be the carrying value, students? 2425. This is at 31st December 2003. Then for 31st December 2004. 3000 minus accumulated depreciation, 275 minus 300 for this year now, for 31st December 2004, 300 more. How much will be the carrying value?
2125.
2125. This is at 31st December 2004. Is it, students? Getting it? Now, carrying value at 31st December 2005 now. Cost minus accumulated depreciation 275 minus 300 minus for this year now up till 31st July. How much it has been? We calculated 175 for 7 months only. In 2005, the asset has been used for 7 months only. Mariam, इस साल जिस साल हमने asset expose की है, उस साल सिर्फ 7 माह के लिए use हुआ है asset. So 7 months depreciation is 175. So carrying value at 31st December 2005 will be how much?
1950.
1950.
1950.
This is at 31st December 2005. So this value is going to be compared with the sale proceeds. How much it is? 1950. Now carrying value is lesser than the sale value. So what is it? It is profit. Carrying value is lesser than the sale value. It's profit. Okay. So profit on disposal is there. How much profit will be going to the SOPL? How much it is, students? $50. This together with this will be going to the SOPL. $50 profit. What is the accounting entry for profit? What is the accounting entry for profit, students? Debit disposal account, credit profit on disposal account. समझ आई सबको? ये समझ नहीं आई बिल्कुल भी? सारा ही नहीं समझ आया? ट्रेड में आना फिर बताऊंगी. ठीक है? We have to come to the trade. Otherwise, we will be losing all of our time, and we have to finish as well. Okay? जहां पर समझना है फौरन बताया करोगे. बस मुझे ये समझ नहीं आ रहा. Okay, now students, disposal of the non-current assets, part exchange transaction. Okay, PEA, part exchange allowance. कभी-कभी जब हम लोग एसेट को सेल करते हैं तो क्या होता है, हम एसेट को सेल करके कैश प्रोसीड्स नहीं लेते. जैसे मरियम, मैं आपको कहूं कि ये मार्कर खरीद लो, मुझे पैसे दे दो. ठीक है, तो ये कैश प्रोसीड्स के थ्रू, कैश कंसिडरेशन के थ्रू मैं आपको एसेट बेच रही हूँ. या मैं कहूँ कि मरियम, आप ऐसा करो कि मुझे आपसे वो पेन खरीदना है जो आपके हाथ में है, लेकिन मेरे पास पैसे इतने ज्यादा नहीं है, आप ये मार्कर से एक्सचेंज कर लो और बाकी जो रिमेनिंग पैसे हैं वो मैं आपको कैश में दे देती हूँ. दिस इज पार्ट एक्सचेंज. Sometimes whenever we do sell an asset, we do take the cash proceeds or we do exchange our existing asset. Okay, so whenever we are exchanging our existing asset with the new asset, this is known as part exchange allowance. Whenever this case is going to be there, first 3 accounting entries are going to be passed, which we have discussed earlier. What were those? Debit, disposal account, credit non-current asset account, then debit accumulated depreciation account, credit disposal account. Third one has been debit cash account, credit disposal account. First three accounting entries are going to be passed together with these two accounting entries whenever there is part disposal. So what two accounting entries are these now? Debit non-current asset account, credit disposal account. This is being passed for the asset which has been purchased. Debit non-current asset cost account, credit disposal account. इधर हम लोग कौन सी अमाउंट लिखेंगे? Part of the cost of new asset and disposal account sale proceeds of the old asset. जो हम लोग एसेट सेल कर रहे हैं, एक्सचेंज कर रहे हैं, उसकी जो सेल प्रोसीड्स हैं वो हम इस अकाउंटिंग एंट्री में लिखेंगे. What accounting entry it will be? Debit non-current asset account, credit disposal account. जो हम लोग एसेट एक्सचेंज कर रहे हैं उसकी सेल प्रोसीड्स हम लोग यहाँ पर लिखेंगे. डेबिट नॉन करंट एसेट अकाउंट, एसेट हमारे पास आ रहा है लेकिन कैश नहीं जा रहा, हम लोग का जो एसेट है वो डिस्पोज ऑफ होके जा रहा है, उसकी अकाउंटिंग एंट्री ये होगी जब हम लोग पार्ट एक्सचेंज कर रहे हैं. Which amount are we going to write? Part of the cost of the new asset. That is the sale proceeds of the old asset. But the remaining amount has to be given in the cash. For remaining amount which we are going to pay in the cash, this accounting entry is going to be passed debit, non-current asset, cost account, credit cash. जब हम लोग एसेट को पार्टली एक्सचेंज करते हैं, दो एक्स्ट्रा अकाउंटिंग एंट्रीज पास होगी. एक पार्ट एक्सचेंज के लिए, एक रिमेनिंग जो कैश कंसिडरेशन हम लोग पे कर रहे हैं उसके लिए. जो पार्ट एक्सचेंज के लिए ट्रांजैक्शन होगी वो एंट्री होगी डेबिट नॉन करंट एसेट कॉस्ट अकाउंट क्रेडिट डिस्पोजल अकाउंट. जो हम लोग रिमेनिंग कैश कंसिडरेशन पे करने के लिए कर रहे हैं अकाउंटिंग एंट्री वो डेबिट नॉन करंट एसेट कॉस्ट अकाउंट क्रेडिट कैश. क्लियर? Here is understanding number 2, students. May I erase it? The requirement of the question is show the ledger account entries for the year ended 31st December 2005 to reflect this transaction. Students, can you do it? Try doing it. Give yourself 5 minutes and do it. Wherever you are not getting the idea, please let me know. Sure. I don't know whether I would be able to zoom in or not. Because these are presentation slides, no? So that's why. अरे आप आगे आ जाओ. Students, one by one pass all the accounting entries. Sorry? Yes, just pass the accounting entries. You are required to show the ledger accounts, but do pass the accounting entries. We are going to make the ledger accounts later. all the years, please pass accounting entries. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Students, I would like to take the test of financial accounting in our next lecture. Is it feasible for you? Fine for you? How many chapters you tell? Yes, this one is the 8th chapter. Yes. First 7 chapters? Okay, fine. First 7 chapters we are going to have in test. Okay, chapter 1 to 7. And for BT, we have chapter number 6 and 7. Okay. BT also we have test, chapter 6 and 7. Look over here. They are sorry. Charges full year depreciation in the year of acquisition and none in the. Yes, dear? Very good, Hazel. Let me just see. You have not passed accounting entries. Is your writing like this? Is this straight? What is that like? Yes, you are right. I would not be able to figure it out. Apart from it, no. You are not able to do it. Any of the above. Why? You are not understanding the concept.
Yeah, I don't do something myself at home.
But are you people able to see from here? Because I am not able to see it properly. I can't see. The Neha's writing is very even my mind is not good. Yes, sir. Don't be afraid. What is this? Credit depreciation? Why? When we purchase an asset, what is an accounting entry? No, when we purchase an asset. Debit will be non-current asset account. हम लोग ऐसी चीज परचेज करते हैं जिसे हम लोगों ने ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ ट्रेडिंग में सेल करना है वो डेबिट नॉन करंट एसेट परचेज करना है डेबिट नॉन करंट एसेट क्रेडिट कैश किस चीज की जो परचेज किया है तो परचेज किया है तो फिर क्रेडिट कैश Just let's start doing it together. Okay. Binti Bobin runs a business altering and repairing clothes. When she started business on 1st January 2002, she bought a Super Stitch 2 sewing machine for 2,500. This is the first portion. So on 1st January 2002, when the asset has been purchased, what is an accounting entry? Mariam? When we do purchase a non-current asset, what is an accounting entry? Debit non-current asset account. Credit cash account. What has been an amount? 2,500. She depreciates sewing machines using the straight line method at a rate of 20% per annum, and she charges a full year depreciation in the year of acquisition and none in the year of disposal. Students, every year we are going to take a full year depreciation, and we are going to take no depreciation in the year of disposal. Okay, so they say the business has now grown such that she needs a faster machine and she will upgrade to the Super Stitch 5 during 2005. So 2005 we are going to dispose of an asset. Before to that we are going to take the depreciation. Okay, so at 31st December 2002 we are going to take full year depreciation, accounting entry, debit depreciation expense account, credit, accumulated depreciation account. How much depreciation? 20% straight line, 2,500 multiplied by 20%. 500 it will be. Again, at 31st December 2003, debit depreciation expense account, credit accumulated depreciation account. Same amount of depreciation since it is straight line method. How much? 500. Then 31st December 2004, debit depreciation expense account, credit accumulated depreciation account. How much amount? 500. Is it? Did you do in the same thing? Now we are in year 2005, and they say she charges full year depreciation in the year of purchase and none in the year of disposal. So for 2005 we are not going to take any depreciation. Maria को कह रहे हैं full year charge in the year of purchase, year of disposal में कोई नहीं, तो हम लोग 2005 year of sale है, उसमें हम लोग कोई depreciation नहीं देंगे. The business has now grown such that she needs a faster machine and she will upgrade to the Super Stitch 5 during December 2005. The Super Stitch salesman has offered her a part exchange deal as follows. What is that? Part exchange allowance for Super Stitch 2, 750. Balance to be paid in cash for Super Stitch 5, 4,850. Students, what two final accounting entries we do pass in the case of part exchange? What two accounting entries are those? Debit non-current asset, credit disposal account. This is for the part exchange. Very good. So at which date we have disposed of? They have not mentioned any date. So December 31st, 2005. First accounting entry will be which one? Debit non-current asset account. Credit will be disposal account. With the disposal proceeds of the first asset. Part exchange allowance for Super Stitch 2, 750. So this accounting entry is going to be passed. And the other accounting entry, debit will be non-current asset account, credit will be very good, cash account. With which amount? 4,850. Clear, students? This is what we are going to do. And first three accounting entries are also going to be passed. What are the first three accounting entries? When the disposal account is opened, debit, disposal account, credit, non-current asset cost account. Second accounting entry, debit accumulated depreciation account, credit disposal account. Third accounting entry, debit cash, but in this case, no cash is being received. Okay. So students, are you clear? This is how we are going to do. Afaq, are you clear? What did you tell? Do you have to prepare ledgers? So many time we are going to take in order to do that. If you want to prepare, these are the accounting entries, you can do as well. Is it what was your profit or loss on disposal?
$250.
$250. Okay. What was your carrying value? 1,000? 2,500 minus 1,500. How much it is? $1,000. Very good. And what are the sale proceeds? 750. Clear, students? Now, students, we are going to start the next topic of revaluation of non-current assets account, but after the break. Okay. Students, who is clear about the carrying calculation of carrying value? Are you clear? Is it sure? Can you please explain it to Maria?
Not in this way. I did it in another.
No, then don't confuse. Samiha, are you clear? You're not clear? Okay. Aisha and Rabia, are you clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Just need practice more.
Oh. Yes, Megan, now you tell.
Can we have a 6 chapters next with 7 and 8 later?
Yes, sure. Chapter number 1 to 6 we can have this week, and then we are going to have chapter 7. Fine. Aisha, Rabia, chapter 1 to 6 is in test. अच्छा बच्चों, प्यारे बच्चों, आप लोगों को पढ़ना पड़ेगा घर में बहुत ज़्यादा if you want to clear the exam. Okay. Now even I am getting worried because when I do see those concepts which are, are getting revised again and again, even those are disturbing you. Say, for example, the journal entry regarding purchase of the non-current asset or something like. तो जो बुक शुरू के कॉन्सेप्ट है आप लोगों को उसको रिवाइज करके, ताकि मैंने वो जर्नल एंट्रीज पर दिया ही इसलिए था कि आप लोग उसको बार-बार पढ़ो, आप लोगों को पता हो. If still you are not clear about those journal entries, then it's really difficult. Now it's time to think about this. If you are not revising the previous things, then it will become difficult for you to pass things. Okay. I'm not making you people fearful. लेकिन देखो आप लोग कॉस्ट स्पेंड कर रहे हो यहाँ पर, टाइम यहाँ पर दे रहे हो, पढ़ते हो अच्छे बच्चों की तरह. अगर पास नहीं करोगे तो टाइम भी वेस्ट होगा, कॉस्ट भी वेस्ट होगी, एक्सपेक्टेशंस पेरेंट्स की वो भी डिस्टर्ब होंगी, तो मसला होगा. उसको पढ़ो बार बार, और जो क्लास में बैठे होते हो तो कॉन्सेप्ट को कोशिश किया करो कि वो एब्सॉर्ब हो जाए माइंड में. ठीक है. हम लोग क्लास के अंदर क्वेश्चंस करते हैं. ऑब्वियसली आई डू ट्राई टू मेक द कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्लाइड्स. एज यू कैन सी दैट आई डू इंक्लूड थियोरी आल्सो इन माय स्लाइड्स स्ट्रेट अवे फ्रॉम द बुक्स, ताकि आप लोगों को बुक की नॉलेज का भी साथ साथ पता चलता रहे. समराइज वे में मैं नहीं बना रही स्लाइड्स, लेकिन फिर भी अगर कुछ ना कुछ, जाहिर बात है कि लेजर अकाउंट से हमने नहीं बनाए इसलिए कि वो बहुत ज्यादा टाइम फिर ले लेगा एक लेजर अकाउंट. तो वो I do expect कि you people should be doing those in your home when you are practicing the things, because previously we have discussed about making of ledger accounts and all things. Okay, so please try to revise the things. Now, as far as this concept is being concerned about carrying value, maybe we have discussed it for 5 to 6 times. What is carrying value? We have calculated it again and again. Now, when you are going to revise it, only then it will be cleared. Okay. लेकिन ये make sure करो कि आपको उसके basic formula का पता है. What is that? Cost minus accumulated depreciation. Accumulated depreciation क्या है वो आपको पता होना चाहिए. Okay. Okay, now after the break, we are going to start with the revaluation. Mariam, if you do have any questions, please ask. हाँ हाँ ठीक है. ठीक है, कौन से वाले की? अच्छा ठीक है. लास्ट किस चीज का?
Last part of वो मैंने नहीं पढ़ा था एग्जाम के लिए, जस्ट चैप्टर से नहीं पढ़ा, उसका कैसे मुझे
अच्छा ठीक है.
मैं आराम से उसको मैंने आंसर्स देख लिया तो सॉल्व करने की कोशिश की.
ठीक है ठीक है, आपने मार्क किए हैं वो क्वेश्चंस. डू यू हैव योर रिवीजन किट? Other students, if you want to take a break, you can. Okay, 25 minutes break.
Okay, ma'am.
Shall we resume the class?
Yes, ma'am.
So students, we have a test for chapter 1 to 6. Okay. Now students, we are going to start the topic of revaluation of non-current assets. We have discussed about cost of the non-current asset. We have discussed about depreciation. We have discussed about disposal. What happened? Tell me today what happened. Every time, no, tell me. Okay. And now we are going to discuss about the revaluation of non-current asset. What is the revaluation of the non-current asset, my dear students? Sometimes what happens that the market value of the asset purchased is higher than its book value. The market value of the asset is higher than its book value. कभी-कभी ऐसा होता है कि जो एसेट हमने परचेज करके रखा हुआ है उसकी मार्केट वैल्यू ज्यादा हो जाती है as compared to the value which we have recorded in our books of accounts. Okay, so sometimes what happens that the market value of the asset or the fair value of an asset is more than its book value of an asset. That is a time period in which we have to record the revaluation of a non-current asset. Revaluation of the non-current asset is always recorded in statement of other comprehensive income. There are two parts of the statement of profit or loss. That is also known as statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. In the second part of the statement of profit or loss, we do record those items which will not be realized during an accounting period. Realize ना होने का क्या मतलब है accounting period के अंदर के इस साल ये वाली इनकम हमारे पास कैश की सूरत में नहीं आएगी, इस साल ये हमारा इसके ऊपर हक नहीं बनेगा. That is the unrealized income. When the market value of the asset is more than its book value, it's just in our books of accounts. We are not actually selling an asset to realize that amount, is it? We are just seeing that market value of the asset is now more than its book value. We are not actually selling that asset in order to gain that advantage. So that is why revaluation is going to be recorded in our statement of other comprehensive income. What is an accounting entry of the revaluation? We do debit non-current asset account and we do credit revaluation surplus account. What is an accounting entry? Whenever the market value of the asset is more than its book value, debit is non-current asset account and credit is revaluation surplus account. On one side, this revaluation gain does go into the statement of other comprehensive income. On the other hand, the revaluation surplus will be going to the equity in statement of financial position. Revaluation surplus is one of the item to be included in equity in statement of financial position. Okay. So now let's see what your book says about revaluation of non-current assets account. According to IAS 16, items of property, plant and equipment can be measured and accounted for using the revaluation model. अगर मैं डिटेल में इसकी बात करूं, if I do talk in detail about this, if you people are not going to be confused, IAS 16 tells us that the initial measurement of the asset is at cost. Subsequent measurement can be using cost model or using revaluation model. Subsequent measurement further in the further years in which the asset has been purchased. Say, for example, in year 1, asset has been purchased, we are going to record it at its cost. In future years, whether we can adopt cost model or the revaluation model. When we are adopting revaluation model, it means that now we have to compare the market value of the assets with its book value, because we are going to record the asset at its revalued price if it is higher than the book value. So that is why they are telling us that according to IAS 16, items of property, plant and equipment can be measured and accounted for using the revaluation model. Some non-current assets such as land and buildings may rise in value over time. We can see an appreciation in value in some kind of the assets, especially land. Land की value, property की value वक्त के साथ साथ बढ़ जाती है. A company, rather than sole traders and partnerships, may choose to reflect the value of the asset in the statement of financial position. This is known as revaluing the asset. IAS 16 says that if the asset's carrying amount is increased as a result of the revaluation, the increase shall be recognized in the other comprehensive income and accumulated in equity under the heading of revaluation surplus. This will be covered later in the text. So what does IAS 16 say is that whenever the carrying amount of an asset is lesser than its market value, we have to record the revaluation gain. On one side, this is going to be recorded in our statement of other comprehensive income. On the other hand, the total of accumulated revaluation surplus will be recorded in our statement of financial position under the head of equity. एक साइड पे रिवैल्यूएशन गेन जाएगा स्टेटमेंट ऑफ अदर कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इनकम में, एक तरफ हो जाएगा स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन में अंडर द हेड ऑफ इक्विटी. किस नाम से? रिवैल्यूएशन सरप्लस के नाम से. Students, are you clear up to here? Now here is illustration number 1. How is this reflected in the financial statements? When God owns land which originally cost 250,000. What is the original cost of the land? 250,000. No depreciation has been charged on the land in accordance with IAS 16. When God wishes to revalue the land to reflect its current market value, which it has been advised to be 350,000. The market value is 350,000. Now, students, the book value of the asset is 250,000 because there is no depreciation. Otherwise, the carrying value will be taken, that is cost minus accumulated depreciation. Since there is no depreciation, that is why cost will be compared to the market value. So, how much appreciation in value is there? How much? 100,000. What accounting entry we are going to pass? Debit, non-current asset, cost account with an amount of 100,000. Credit will be revaluation surplus account with an amount of 100,000. Clear? This will be the accounting entry which has to be passed. Now, what is going to be happening in the financial statements? In our statement of other comprehensive income, this 100,000 is going to be recorded as the revaluation gain. On the other hand, in our statement of financial position, under the head of equity, this revaluation surplus is going to be mentioned, that is 100,000. This is how we are going to treat it in our financial statements. Cleared? Is everyone cleared? Samiha, Mariam? Okay, now, illustration number 2. May I raise it, students? How is this reflected in the financial statements? Okay, one more illustration. Hamstrung runs a cage making business in Scotland. It has run the business for many years from a building which originally cost 300,000. Now cost is how much? $300,000. And on which 100,000 accumulated depreciation is charged. Now in this case, we have accumulated accumulated depreciation as well. How much it is? $100,000. Accumulated depreciation has been charged to date. Armstrong wishes to revalue the building to $750,000. Revalued amount is how much? $750,000. Now, students, the assets with the accumulated depreciation, what accounting entry we are going to pass in the case of revaluation? Debit will be non-current asset cost account. Debit will be accumulated depreciation account, and credit will be revaluation surplus account. In front of accumulated depreciation, we are going to record the total amount of depreciation which has been taken to date. In this case, how much it is? 100,000. In front of non-current asset cost account, which amount are we going to return? We are going to write. Sorry? 200,000. How? How 200,000 is it? How 200,000? The revalued amount is 750,000. Sorry? Why? Why? This has been the initial cost. The cost has been this one. The revalued amount is 750,000. 5,500,000? How 5,500,000? 5,500,000, how it can come? What is the carrying value, students? What is the carrying value? 300,000. What is carrying value? Mariam, carrying value क्या होती है? Formula क्या है carrying value का? Cost minus accumulated depreciation. So carrying value क्या हुई? 300,000 minus 100,000. कितनी हुई? 200,000. What is the difference between carrying value and the revalued amount, students? How much is it? 5,500,000. Where are we going to write this? And what is the difference between cost and revalued amount? Now tell me, where are we going to write the amounts? The difference between the carrying value and the revalued amount will be written in the revaluation surplus. How much it is? 5,500,000. The difference between cost and revalued amount will be written in non-current asset account. How much it is? 4,500,000. Got it? So for your information, you can write that in front of non-current asset, the difference between cost and revalued amount is going to be written. In front of revaluation surplus, carrying value and revalued amount, the difference is going to be written. Clear? So now what we are actually doing, we are actually comparing the carrying value of an asset with the revalued amount of an asset. Okay? Because we had depreciation in this case. That is why the carrying value is being compared with the revalued amount. In the previous case, because we did not have depreciation, that is why costs have been compared with the revalued amount. Clear? Please write it if you want. Yes, students, done? Okay, now, so in summary, they are writing the accounting entries over here. Revaluation surplus is revalued amount minus carrying amount. So what is revaluation surplus? The difference between revalued amount and the carrying amount. For non-depreciated asset, the debit non-current asset account, credit revaluation surplus account. Note that the revaluation surplus within equity is an accumulated revaluation surplus. Same like accumulated depreciation. Whatever we are writing in SOFP, they are accumulated balances. The amount recognized within other comprehensive income is revaluation surplus accounted for in that year. For a depreciated asset, debit accumulated depreciation, debit non-current asset cost account, credit revaluation surplus account. In front of non-current asset cost account, the difference of cost and revalued amount is going to be written. In front of revaluation surplus, the difference between carrying value and revaluation surplus is going to be written. The revaluation gain for the year is disclosed on the face of statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income as an item of other comprehensive income. This amount is added to any earlier revaluation from the previous accounting periods to arrive at the cumulative revaluation surplus in the statement of changes in equity and the statement of financial position. They are telling that the amount which we are writing on the face of the statement of other comprehensive income has revaluation gain, that is the revaluation gain for that current year. The amount which we are writing in the SOFP as revaluation surplus is the accumulation of all the revaluation surpluses which had happened before. जैसे क्योंकि स्टेटमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन के अंदर सारे के सारे एक्यूमुलेटेड बैलेंसेस जाते हैं, तो रिवैल्यूएशन सरप्लस जितनी रिवैल्यूएशन पिछले सालों में हो चुकी है वो तमाम का तमाम मिक्सचर जाएगा एसओएफपी में, और जो साल का रिवैल्यूएशन है वो जाएगा एसओपीएल में. Got it? Now students, understanding number 3 is there. What is the balance on revaluation surplus account after accounting for this transaction? Max company owns a fish finger factory. The premises were purchased on 1st January 2001 for $450,000 and depreciation charged at 2% per annum on the straight line basis. Max company now wishes to revalue the factory premises to $800,000 on 1st January 2007 to reflect its market value. Students, this is very simple question. Can you start doing it? Can you start doing it? Do it then. At 1st January 2001, the asset has been purchased. Is it? The cost has been $450,000 and depreciation is charged at 2% per annum on straight line basis. Now I will be calculating the depreciation a little bit more quicker, students. Okay, you need to cope up with that. For how many years the depreciation is being taken in between? 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For 6 years, the depreciation is being taken up till January 1st, 2007. 6 years depreciation is there. 450,000 multiplied by depreciation rate is 2%, multiplied by 6 years. How much depreciation is there? Sorry, 54,000. Clear up till here? So what will be the carrying value at January 1st, 2007? Cost has been 450,000 minus accumulated depreciation is 54,000. What is the carrying value?
396,000.
396,000 is the carrying value. Okay. What is the revalued amount? 800,000. Can you pass the accounting entry? What accounting entry is going to be passed at the time of revaluation? Debit, non-current asset, cost account, debit, accumulated depreciation account, credit, revaluation, surplus account. In front of non-current asset account, which amount is going to be written? Difference between cost and revalued amount. Cost and revalued amount. How much it is? 350,000. 350,000. How much accumulated depreciation is there? 54,000. How much we are going to write in front of revaluation surplus? The difference between carrying value and revalued amount, or simply add them both. How much it is? 404,000. This is the amount which we are going to write in revaluation surplus. Samiha, understood? मरियम, आप ग्रुप स्टडी करने में आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम है बाकी अपने क्लासमेट्स के साथ? कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है? स्टूडेंट्स प्लीज मेक अ प्लान फॉर ग्रुप स्टडी. नो, Afaq is not ready for group study. No, Afaq, why? You don't feel comfortable?
We said we have to stay for like 1:30, so I said I cannot stay for that long.
Why? You become tired? No. Then make a plan for other days like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday you are coming here for studies. Then confine one more day. Any other day you can come. Shall I take the permission from management if you people do agree? So in that way, what can happen? If you are having any queries, you can ask me. Na? I am sitting here. You can ask me that, ma'am, we are not understanding this, please help us. Because we need to pass the exam, students. It is beneficial for you and equally beneficial for me too. So please try to understand, okay? Please concentrate, okay? Plan बनाओ अपने ना उसका पढ़ने का extra time निकालो. I think Samiha doesn't have any problem. So please confine one for one day. May I raise it now? May I raise it? Aisha, Rabia, are you cleared?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, now students, now sometimes the situation comes that there is a depreciation and disposal of a revaluation asset. Now let's read it first, then we are going to discuss. When a non-current asset has been revalued, the charge for depreciation should be based on the revalued amount and the remaining useful life of the asset. Now what happens? That when we are revaluing an asset, its amount is now more than the cost. Its revalued amount is now more than the cost. So is going to be the depreciation. Depreciation will also be more than the previous year depreciations. जब हम लोग एसेट को रीवैल्यू करते हैं, उसकी वैल्यू बढ़ गई है, तो डेप्रिसिएशन भी अब बढ़ जाएगी, क्योंकि अब हाई अमाउंट के ऊपर डेप्रिसिएशन ले रहे हैं ना. So now there will be a difference in the previous year's depreciation and the new depreciation rate. Sometimes they do, the organizations do make an election for, for transferring the excess depreciation to the retained earnings. Sometimes they don't. Okay, so in exam questions, when they are going to say you that election is being made to transfer the excess depreciation, then you are going to pass this accounting entry. Otherwise, no. If the excess depreciation is not being transferred to the revaluation from the revaluation surplus to the retained earnings, then there is no need to pass this accounting entry. Why is this excess depreciation present? Because now more depreciation is being charged on the revalued amount of the asset. मरियम, जब हम एसेट को रीवैल्यू करते हैं तो उसकी डेप्रिसिएशन भी बढ़ जाती है, पिछले सालों की निस्बत अब उसकी डेप्रिसिएशन ज्यादा होगी। कभी कभी वो आपको एग्जाम के अंदर कहेंगे जो एक्सेस डेप्रिसिएशन है इसे रिटेन्ड अर्निंग के अंदर ऐड कर दो। अगर वो ऐसा कहें तो फिर आपको ये अकाउंटिंग एंट्री पास करनी है। इसमें से हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, रिवैल्यूएशन सरप्लस में से वो अमाउंट निकाल रहे हैं और रिटेन्ड अर्निंग के अंदर डायरेक्टली ऐड अप कर रहे हैं एक्सेस डेप्रिसिएशन। Okay, so now let's read it. When a non-current asset has been revalued, the charge for depreciation should be based on the revalued amount and the remaining useful life of the asset. This charge will be higher than the depreciation prior to the revaluation and will be charged to the profit or loss as normal. IAS 16 says that if an item of property, plant and equipment is revalued, the entire class of property, plant and equipment to which the asset belongs shall be revalued. This sometimes come in the multiple choice questions. This is just the policy of IAS 16 that if one item of the property, plant and equipment is revalued, then all the items of the property, plant and equipment must be revalued. जैसे हम लोग लैंड 1 को रिवैल्यू कर रहे हैं तो लैंड 2, लैंड 3 तमाम के तमाम को लैंड्स को हमें रिवैल्यू करना पड़ेगा. दिस इज द पॉलिसी ऑफ IAS 16. Sometimes on the rolling basis as well. कि पहले हम लोगों ने लैंड 1 को कर लिया, अगले साल लैंड 2 को कर लिया, फिर लैंड 3 को कर लिया, फिर लैंड 1 की जगह आ गई. ठीक है. If IAS 16 permits a class of assets to be revalued on the rolling basis, provided that valuations are kept up to date and they are performed within the short period. The excess of the new annual depreciation charge over the old depreciation charge may be subject to the annual transfer from the revaluation surplus to the retained earnings within the equity section of the SOFP as follows. So when you are having a policy to transfer the excess charge of depreciation from the revaluation surplus to the retained earnings, then this accounting entry is going to be passed. That is debit revaluation surplus account and credit retained earnings account. Cleared? Illustration number 3 is there. What accounting entries should be made in the financial statements for 2006? So this is for the depreciation of the revalued assets, students. You need to try it first and then we are going to discuss it. I will be reading the scenario. Start doing it by yourself. Esoteric owns a retail unit in Central Springfield. It bought the property 25 years ago for 100,000, depreciating it over 50 years on the straight line basis. At the start of 2006, the entity decides to revalue the unit to 800,000. The unit has remaining useful life of 25 years at the date of the revaluation. It is the entity's policy to make the annual transfer of excess depreciation between revaluation surplus and retained earnings within the equity. Now you have to calculate the excess charge of depreciation and then you have to pass an accounting entry to transfer it from the revaluation surplus to the retained earnings. Just do pass all the accounting entries for revaluation, then for the excess depreciation, and then for transferring. Have you done this? No? You are writing? Okay. You're not doing? Why? You're not understanding? Okay. Try to do it. The first accounting entry is going to remain the same for evaluation. What is that? Debit is non-current asset, cost account. Credit will be, but we have accumulated depreciation as well. Debit will be accumulated depreciation account. Credit will be revaluation surplus account. First accounting entry, then for depreciation, debit depreciation expense account, credit accumulated depreciation account. That is for the new depreciation, the new amount of depreciation on the revalued amount. Then the third accounting entry for passing the excess depreciation from the revaluation surplus to the retained earnings, debit, revaluation surplus account, credit, retained earnings account. These three accounting entries will be there. Pass the amounts. For revaluation surplus, first you need to do by yourself.
How will we find accumulated depreciation?
Sorry?
How are we going to find accumulated depreciation?
It bought the property 25 years ago for 100,000, depreciating it over 50 years on the straight line basis. At the start of 2006, the equity decided to revalue the unit to 800,000. The unit has the remaining useful life for 25 years. So it means that for 25 years, the depreciation has already been taken. Okay, that is how we are going to calculate the accumulated depreciation. 25 years is remaining, for 25 years it's been taken. No residual value is there. 100,000 divided by 50 multiplied by 25. Done? So accumulated depreciation is how much? You have not calculated. Aisha and Rabia, have you calculated?
Yes, ma'am, doing.
Okay, great. Students, have you done the first accounting entry? This one is the revised concept. Have you done? No? Not understanding it? What are you not understanding, Samiha? Totally confused. Either you have not done it, you don't want to do it, or you are not understanding. Not understanding. Why is it so? Mariam, have you finished? Esoteric owns a retail unit in Central Springfield. It bought a property 25 years ago for $100,000, depreciating it over 50 years on straight line basis. So students, how much is going to be the depreciation as per this data? The cost is 100,000. divided by estimated useful life is 50. How much per year depreciation will be there? How much? 2,000 it will be per year depreciation. Now we have to see the accumulated depreciation charged up till the year of revaluation. So they say at the start of 2006, the entity decides to revalue the unit to 800,000. The unit has a remaining useful life of 25 years. So it means at the time of revaluation, the asset has already been used for 25 years. That is why 25 years remaining life is present. Is it? Total life was 50 years. At the time of revaluation, 25 years has been remaining. So we have to take the depreciation for 25 years. So accumulated depreciation will be how much? How much it will be? $50,000. Clear? Ava, clear? So how much depreciation we are going to take? Accumulated 50,000. In front of non-current asset account, what do we write? Difference of cost and revalued amount. In front of revaluation surplus, which amount we write? Difference of carrying value and revalued amount. What is the difference of cost and revalued amount? Cost has been how much? 100,000. What is the revalued amount? 800,000. What is the difference? 700,000. So we are going to write it over here. Is it? How much amount we are going to write in front of revaluation surplus? You can add, or you can see the carrying amount. What is the carrying amount? Mariam will be telling me. What is the carrying amount of the asset at the date of revaluation? So what is the cost? Very good. Accumulated depreciation? 50,000. Very good. So how much is carrying value? 50,000. And what is the revalued amount? 800,000. Is it? The difference between carrying value and revalued amount, 800,000 and 50,000, how much it is? 750,000. Clear, students? Now calculate the depreciation for this year, for 2006. How much depreciation will be there? How much it is? Now the depreciation will be charged on which thing, students? Now the new amount has been come in front of us, new revalued amount. Now the depreciation will be charged on this new value. After revaluation, the depreciation will start being calculated on this amount. Okay. So which amount we are going to calculate the depreciation from now onwards? On 8,000. It is on straight line basis. So 800,000 remaining useful life is how much? 25 years. So 800,000 divided by 25, how much? New depreciation. Revalued amount is 800,000. Estimated useful life, remaining useful life is 25 years. How much it is? 32,000. 32,000. Okay. New depreciation is 32,000. From this year onwards, the depreciation will be 32,000. Clear? Now, over here, because we have to transfer the excess depreciation to the retained earnings from the revaluation surplus, we have to see what is the difference between the old depreciation and the new depreciation. How much has been the old depreciation? 2,000 per year. The old depreciation has been 2,000 per year. The new depreciation is 32,000 per year. How much excess is there? 30,000. So now we are going to transfer it to our retained earnings. 30,000 excess depreciation. Clear? This is what we are. Now the question has been very simple. The first accounting entry must have been passed by you. Aisha and Rabia, are you cleared?
Yes, ma'am. Can we write now?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure, dear, sure. Please write. IAS 16 is going to be tested in the exam. It's very important. In all the 3 papers of financial reporting, it is going to be examined. It's important. Aisha, Rabia wants to finish, let me know.
Okay,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Finish.
Finished?
Yes, ma'am.
Shall we move on? Sonia, are you writing? Please write. Okay, now students, if we are going to dispose of the revalued asset, what is going to happen? Let's read. Disposal of the revalued asset. Whenever we dispose of the asset, which 2 things we do compare?
Same price.
Sale price and carrying value. Very good. So when we are disposing of the asset which has been revalued first, what are we going to do? We are going to pass the same type of accounting entries which we have discussed earlier. Those 5 accounting entries have to be kept in mind. Together with the extra point that whenever the asset has been revalued, all of the amount which is being accumulated for that asset in the revaluation surplus is also going to be expired. We are going to de-recognize that revalued amount also. Okay. जब हम लोग एसेट हमने रीवैल्यू किया हुआ है और उसको डिस्पोज ऑफ कर रहे हैं तो उसकी जो रीवैल्यूएशन का जो सरप्लस है वो भी डी-रिकॉग्नाइज करना पड़ेगा. जो पिछली 5 अकाउंटिंग एंट्रीज हैं वो रहेंगी वैसी की वैसी. Together with that, one more accounting entry, that is debit revaluation surplus credit retained earnings. ये हमें ये बता रही है, this accounting entry is telling that we are de-recognizing the relevant revaluation surplus related to the asset which has been disposed of. Okay. So what they say, disposal of the revalued asset. IAS 16 says that the gain or loss arising from the de-recognition of an item of property, plant and equipment shall be determined as the difference between the net disposal proceeds, if any, and the carrying amount of an item. So again, they are repeating the fact that whenever we are disposing of an asset, we are going to compare the carrying amount of an asset with its disposal proceeds. The revaluation surplus included in equity in respect of an item of property, plant and equipment may be transferred directly to retained earnings when the asset is de-recognized. So whenever we are de-recognizing an asset, its relevant balance on the revaluation surplus account must also be de-recognized. Okay. So they say the accounting entry for that will be debit revaluation surplus, credit retained earnings. The same accounting entry which we do pass in the case of passing out the excess depreciation. It shows that we are minimizing the balance on the revaluation surplus and we are taking it to the retained earnings. Okay. We are actually giving the right to the shareholders to get the right on the revaluation surplus which has been accumulated. So retained earnings are the sum total of all the profits and losses earned to date and is included within an equity on the SOFP. So what are retained earnings? Some amount of profit which is being, the total amount of profit which is happening in the organization is some amount out of it is going to be distributed to the shareholders as dividend and some is going to be retained in the entity. That is retained earning. Now understanding number 4 is there. What accounting entries are required to reflect this disposal? Tiger Trees owns and runs a golf club. Some years ago, the entity purchased land next to its existing course with the intention of creating a smaller 9-hole course. The cost of the land was 260,000. Over time, the entity had the land revalued to $600,000. It has now decided that building the new course is uneconomical and has sold the land for 695,000. Students, can you do this? Please do it. Please start doing it. Last question for today. Pass the accounting entry for revaluation, like we did earlier. Pass the accounting transaction accounting entry for the disposal. Okay. Done, Lisa? No, you're not understanding, or you're not able to absorb the concepts anymore. Tired? The first same accounting entry is going to be passed, students. What is that? Over here, we do not have any depreciation, is it? So what accounting entry is going to be passed for revaluation? Debit non-current asset account, credit revaluation surplus account. Am I right, students? Tiger Tree owns and runs a golf club. Some years ago, the entity purchased a land next to its existing course with the intention of creating the smaller nine-hole course. The cost of the land was 260,000. Over time, the entity had the land revalued to 600,000. Revaluation has occurred, students. What is an accounting entry? Debit non-current asset, land account, credit is going to be revaluation surplus account. No accumulated depreciation has been there. So difference between cost and revalued amount, how much it is? 260,000 and 600,000. What is the difference? 340,000. Simple accounting entry is going to be passed. Then the asset is being disposed of. What do we do when the asset is being disposed of, students? We do de-recognize its cost. We do de-recognize its accumulated depreciation. And if it is revalued, we are going to de-recognize its revaluation surplus as well. Okay. So what do we do in order to de-recognize the cost? Debit is disposals account. In order to de-recognize the cost, debit is disposal account, credit is which thing? Non-current asset, cost account. What is the amount? Okay, we are going to see it later. The second accounting entry to de-recognize the accumulated depreciation. Is there any accumulated depreciation? No accumulated depreciation. Third accounting entry to de-recognize its revaluation surplus. So what are we going to do? Debit, revaluation surplus account, credit retained earnings account. Is it? Students, are you clear? If you are not getting clear, let us switch off the lecture. Is it better not to discuss right now? Okay. Try to do this understanding from your rules. Okay. The same repetition is being done. Nothing is new actually, but you need to absorb the previous concepts. So what happened? Okay, try to do this from your notes. Okay. Now, please, I request whenever we are finishing the chapter, do its understandings and do the revision kit as well related to that. Okay. Okay, now we are going to discuss it later then. Please do this understanding from your homes. Otherwise, we are going to discuss it in our next lecture. Aisha, Rabia?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We are going to discuss it then in our next lecture. Try to do it from your homes as well.
Okay,
And now
ma'am.
in the next financial accounting lecture, we have a test from chapter number 1 to 6. And for PT, we have a test of chapter number 6 and 7. Students, I am ending the lecture for today.
Okay, ma'am. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Take care.
You're welcome.